Hi, everyone. So glad to be here and to tell you all about digital fashion. This has been sort of seemed to be like a hype term, but the truth is everyone, if already not, then will be affected in a good way, let's hope, by digital fashion. We will see that definitely in the future. So I'm here to tell you about this, so to pick your brains a little bit as well when we're going to think about what maybe we will wear in the metaverse, or if digital fashion is really something for you. But in order to do that, first of all, I would give you a little bit of like an introduction of myself. Why am I here talking about digital fashion? First of all, it all started for me when I went to study textile management in Sweden. So I still remember the time when my course mate showed me a picture of a virtual avatar. I still remember exactly where we were in the lecture room. And for me, it was like, wow. After that, I just went in through the whole rabbit hole of digital fashion and avatars and all of that. Did all my research that was possible about 3D, and eventually master thesis as well about virtual avatars. And once I defended that thesis, it was really clear for me, this is my topic. I want to stay in that. But to get into that, it was not a really smooth road. Of course, it was basically the beginning of digital fashion at that point when that really started to take on. So I studied the whole software myself for 3D fashion, and then through that started an agency, because I saw actually very fast that brands do need that. They need another way to visualize their products other than taking this massive amount of photo shoots, spending all that time. So around 3 years, was the Scopus Studio, this agency. We did from 3D models up until virtual showrooms. We had partners for virtual fitting, virtual metaverse, and we did some NFT projects for our clients. Anything you can imagine in the digital fashion space. Also, I've given throughout these 2-3 years different workshops from Dubai up until here in Tartu as well, to really show the emerging designers that 3D is something of a really beneficial tool for them, not only to start their business in a less risky way, but maybe even to use their creativity in much sort of free way. Because in 3D there is no limit. This is what I say always. There is no limit in 3D. Even not the sky is not the limit, because you can have just literally anything. If the physics also doesn't really, you can have them not work in 3D. So now in 2023, I joined Eeva, which is a startup more in a traditional fashion industry, and creating a digital transformation in there. So what we do is digital product passports for textiles, and 3D twin is a part of that. But let's move on. So first of all, picking your brain a little bit again about just generally about 3D. It's actually, when I talk to people, when I say 3D, then they somehow think about 3D printing. I think just 3D printers did a really good marketing job a few years ago, so everybody is just thinking about 3D printing. But actually in here on the left side, you can see this is the sort of tangible 3D printing. So you've got skull implants, you've got 3D printed soles for, let's say, Adidas shoes. But on the right side, just in here, you can see that 3D is much more. It's actually visuals as well. In fact, more than half of the advertisements you see on TV, like that, with a Honda on it, are fully CGI. CGI means computer generated. So essentially it is all 3D made, and you don't even realize that. And for architecture, 3D has been something of a really essential tool already for decades. They use that for visualizing housing, and so on. But for fashion, why has it been so slow for fashion? First of all, fashion is known to be the slowest industry to take any new innovation on. But there is also a reason. When you think about a house, then it's rigid, it's tangible, it's essentially a box. But when in fashion you get all the draping of the different fabrics, it is much more complex. Plus, who is wearing those fashion items are people. So we also need to sort of digitalize the people as well, so avatars. So there's a lot of really complex items that come into 3D and fashion. But as I said, around 3 years ago, it really took off. But in fact, experiments started already in 1990s for 3D. But yeah, 4 years ago, you started seeing that much more because of the technology development. So in here, you can see mostly where it started then is just another level of the technical drawing. So on the right side, you can see a technical drawing of a garment, and on the left side, a 3D version of it. So it is just a great way for the brands to, instead of showing a 2D image that can be interpreted in several ways, you can have a 3D version, you can show all kinds of different angles on it. And most brands are using, most known brands are using 3D in their product development already. But digital fashion is not only that. By the way, all the visuals are done by Scopus Studio. It's not only that. So it moved on to be an alternative to photo shoots. Here we can see virtual photo shoots, so we can bring in mannequins. We can bring in actually really complex avatars as well, which right now you might not even be able to make a difference. I will show you very soon. This is getting a bit creepy, maybe. So even now, you can start seeing much more of especially new brands starting to use this sort of virtual photo shoots on their websites. And again, the next step from that is that creatives, designers, can really express themselves fully in 3D. And as I said, there are no limits to that. And you can see that right now, especially for me, since I'm in this space, I see all sorts of designs all the time. They're feeding into my social media. I can see that a lot. If you Google digital fashion, then you can really see what is possible. And you can see creatives and designers literally go crazy with 3D. But it doesn't stop with, just garments in 3D. In here, you can see a virtual avatar. In fact, there is a virtual avatar agency called the Digitals. And this was in 2019. So Shudu, the virtual avatar, which is fully 3D, was actually attending BAFTA Awards in 2019. And there was a hologram of her, so celebrities could take a picture of her and with her. And again, moving on, a 3D or virtual model is just a mannequin, just a model, right? But Lynn Michaela, which has, maybe you know her already because she has a massive amount of followers on her Instagram, more than 3 million right now. She's a real influencer, and she doesn't exist. She was even participating in some political campaigns. In here, you can see a really controversial advertisement by Calvin Klein, where I didn't take that screenshot, but they were actually kissing in that video with Bella Hadid. So you can see really digital and real getting together, and that brought on a lot of controversy. But I guess that was their goal as well. And she has her whole life in Instagram. She has boyfriends, she has ex-boyfriends, she has friends, and it's really a mix between real and not real. So she's constantly on pictures actually with real people. Technically, it is just really good photoshopping on the real pictures. And again, it doesn't stop just with influencers. You have luxury brands who are really testing out the whole Web3 scene. So Dolce & Gabbana actually have earned billions, I think it was more than 6 billion, with their NFTs. And not only Dolce & Gabbana, you have Puma, and much more. And again, it doesn't stop with that. You have already marketplaces where they sell only digital clothing. So you won't get, if you buy that, I don't even know what to call it. Yeah, it's a dress, this sort of balloon thing. You won't get that in real life. You'll buy it, and they will just give you a picture of you wearing it. And you have also already, again, the luxury brands who have the capacity to test everything out. They have limitless of collaborations already with different games, with Sims. Also, Louis Vuitton had a collaboration with The Sims, so they made skins, essentially, or Roblox, and so on. So that was just a shocking sort of introduction, I hope. But to dwell a bit more into that, we'll take a look to fashion in 3 different sort of ways. And this is fashion as a commodity, a self-expression, and then you have also fashion, if you're buying brands, it is a sense of belonging, right? So as a commodity, we'll talk about product development a bit more. Self-expression, again, would you wear digital-only fashion? And with sense of belonging, this has really been taken forward with the Web3 element. So in here you can see what that product development with 3D really means. You have, again, technical drawing that is translated into 3D. So instead of, for brands, maybe sending their clients this left version, maybe it would be colorful, but they can instead send a whole 3D, 360 image or much more realistic image of the garment or the product. With that, there is more than 50% cut in physical samples. And why? Because you won't need this 5 or 6, which is typically in the fashion industry, 5 to 6 or even more physical samples in order to get one product right. With 3D, the statistics are that there's more or less 2 to 3 samples, physical samples needed. So it cuts quite a significant amount when you think about all the collection items. With that, you get, of course, cuts in logistics and shipping because the samples are not made at the same place. They come from the factories. You get a lot of back and forth shipping. And with that, of course, reducing carbon footprint. All of that, in turn, helps with faster time to market. As with the shipping and logistics reduction, 3D is also, as I said, used as communication. So even that really reduces the time to market. Currently, time to market, if you're thinking about fashion, is 12 to 18 months, which is year to year and a half. It is a lot of time to get one product to market. So fashion brands are really looking to have better ways and tools to get that number less. And yeah, as I said, big brands, if you don't even see it, they're actually using 3D in their product development. And with that, you also get customization. So what that means, maybe if a B2B company in fashion, they can just send, instead of sampling again, they can just send a 3D image, get the feedback from their clients, or just maybe their business model is like that, as that the clients can customize some specific parts. So then it is much easier to do as just with a technical drawing. Yeah, it is alternative to photo shoots. So what our brands and our clients in Scopus Studio often did was that they used 3D in product development and iterated that until they got the product that they wanted, and then used the same visual. Or then we came in to make the visual a bit better with, you have to have some sort of lighting, good lighting, as in photo shoots as well. This works the same in 3D. And then they could use that in their web stores. So you get the same file, essentially, going through several stages, adding value in there. And we have calculated that, although photo shoots are really different, but it can be up to 70% cost in photo shoots when you're thinking about all the models that has to be shipped, even the scene, the studio that has to be rented, the electricity, all sorts of aspects that go into a photo shoot. Then the 3D alternative for photo shoots is, up to 70% less. And this, again, is reducing carbon footprint. My favorite topic is actually new business models in fashion when it comes to 3D. So you can actually, as a brand, start pre-sales, have made to order, and also customization online the same way. Whoops. Customization online as well, the same way as B2B. There's already tools out there, for example, for Shopify, that you can just put in a 3D model and you can change the color of that, and you can really build the customer experience with that. So, self-expression. Now, let's think. There are actually several digital-only marketplaces already. Not only DressX. DressX is the main one, but also the Fabricant. With that, as you can see, you have unlimited creativity by the designers. And you can think, would you actually try this digital fashion? If you send them your picture, buy that dress, and get that dress on you, so as you were wearing it, would you do that, or why would you do that? There's probably you have a lot of questions about it. It's not that sort of out there, the value for you, but for example, influencers are using that already. They don't need to buy, or they don't need to get the physical garment. They can just actually create like endless content with those digital dresses. And yeah, Metaverse, it is getting more real. Creator communities are really taking part of that, as again, for them it's a great way to express themselves and create new designs. And all of that is a fashion with no environmental impact. Actually, this no is a bit too much. There is, of course, environmental impact to everything. I mean, electricity as well, and even 3D designers drink water sometimes. So there is a joke that, when it takes 2,000 liters to create a pair of jeans in real life, then for 3D, you just take, let's say, half a liter for the 3D designer. And you can think, would you wear digital fashion in social media if you have all these great designers and you want to experience that? fashion is sense of belonging, and now coming to sort of AR and NFT Web3 campaigns. Actually, you can see in here, Louis Vuitton just recently created an AR campaign with a whole app where you can play, and you can get points or awards. And that was, I tried that, and I already felt much more connected with Louis Vuitton, even though I don't own anything. But this sort of gamified way is getting to all kinds of people who can feel connected with this brand and have some fun and maybe even win something. It increases definitely brand loyalty, and with that you can offer some exclusivity. You can have games in there, as I said. You can have only exclusive offers for those who, for example, who hold your NFT. And there, these items you can collect. This is also what Louis Vuitton is doing. Metaverse for brands, it works in a way of communicating the brand. So when right now, if you go to a web page of a brand, then you're just like on a white background scrolling 2D images. Okay, it might be sometimes done really good, so you get an experience in there. But instead, when you think you step into a room, you don't have to have the goggles for that. It's all happening as a video game on your laptop. And you step into a room, you can walk around, you have maybe some games in there, you have maybe a treasure hunt, you can go behind the corners, look at what is in there. It is creating a really whole next level experience for the customers or for the new customers to experience the brand, even better than in the physical store. So for the last thing, I would want you to think about the future, because Metaverse, I can say, because of what I just said, it makes a lot of sense for the brands to communicate their story in a way of a virtual showroom. And if we get there already, then maybe we have all sorts of brands in a virtual showroom, then stepping again, maybe then you want one avatar so you can go really as yourself to all these stores. And then you can think about like, oh, but what will I wear in there as an avatar? I've been to some Metaverse platforms like Decentraland, and it's really interesting. You can think about what would you do if you had total freedom. I've seen people as tarantulas. So it doesn't even have to be clothing. You can be anything in there. So that is really fascinating for me. What will we see? Will the people start to be as animals or aliens or whatever? Or will they be really themselves, just digitally, and still having their own style, still wearing the same sort of clothes? You can think of that. If you were given full freedom, what would you do? Thank you. That was a brief introduction into the topic, and now we will have experts joining the panel.
Indeed.